I tell you, as a young fella, I was probably a person you didn't want to know. I had a good heart in me, but I had a problem. My problem was I drank. I really did. I could never work out. I used to hate waking up in the morning and people looking at me, telling me what I did. And in my heart, I didn't want to hear it. I'd say, you must have said something to me, you must have done something to me to provoke me. They didn't. I always say the person who wrote Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde must have been an alcoholic, because that's who I felt like. Anyway, I lost the family. I didn't lose the family, let's get that right. I was thrown out, but my family was still there. I could go to them and I could try to change my ways. And I went to a place called AA, and I sat in those meetings trying to recover from this disease, which is a disease. I thought it was a cop-out. I thought that's just an excuse for us. People won't believe that, but it was true. I am powerless against it. It overtakes me. I could be sober for 40 years. You put a drink in me and I'll become back that same person. It won't go away. But anyway, I remember going to these meetings and I had a hatred. I mean a filthy hatred in my heart for my ex-partner. I really did. I thought she was the cause of everything. I hated her. I wanted her to die. Anyway, this OAA bloke came up to me one day, he said, pray for her. I looked at him, I said, I'll pray for her, all right, mate, don't you worry about that. Bus, head, under the bus. You know, I shouldn't talk like that, but that's where I felt. He said, no, just pray for her life. So I went home and I was living with my father. I had nowhere to go, I had to live with my dad. I'm 30 odd years old and I'm living with my dad. We had no curtain, we didn't have a door in this house. I had a curtain on this house that I lived in. And I remember Dad was up the end of the hall in the lounge room. I'm down in this room. And they're telling me that I have to bow down and pray to this God. I believed there was a God, but I didn't know how to pray. And I bowed, and I tell you what, I was in that room and I'm looking over my shoulder. I'd rather my dad catch me take 50 out of his wallet than me bending down and praying to God. I meant that. That's how much I didn't want to pray. And I got down on my knees. Had no idea what to do. None at all. And I said to God, God, I've done this before. I said, I don't know what I've got to do here. I said, I've got to pray for Leonie, and that was the ex-missus. And I said, I don't even know what to pray for. You know what he done? He didn't, there was no sound, there wasn't this big clash of lightning or anything come down on top of me. It was just this, like he put his finger in my head and put a thought in my mind and in my heart. He says, what if I make her happy? That'll make your children happy, David. Will you be happy? Do you know what was taken away from me? That anger. Right there and then. You tell me, how does that work? I don't know how it works. I really don't. I know God works now. Why did I go to a church? You know why I went to a church? Why I went to this church? I went to other churches. I was like a church shopping. I thought, what church will I go to? So I went looking. I went to the Catholic church. I'm not bagging the Catholic church, but I sat in that church and it felt like it was just a factory machine that just done the same thing over and over again. Every time you went there, it was the same routine, the same lot. Throw in the plate twice a time, you know, contributions, this and that. Take the biscuit, drink the wine. I just didn't feel right. Went to the one up top of the hill. It was the same thing, only they didn't call themselves Catholic, they called them Church of England or something, I think it was. Then I went to this church that I go to now, and I listened to what they said. And my dream was that I got married to a young girl, a good woman. I don't think she's a religious woman. I ask her. She says, that's my business. It's hard living with a person that you think that you might go to hell. That's the person you love. You want to save someone, you want to save her. But I don't have the option. It's free will. It's like all yous have got free wills here. You can listen to me babbling on, or you can take a little bit in and research yourself. Go to the Bible. Have a look. But anyway, I lost thought now. But God, nobody preached to me to go to church. And I went to church because I wanted to baptise my girls. And then when I went to church, I realised that it's not up to me for the girls to get baptised, it's up to the girls. They're going to find their own way as I found my way. And as you have to find your own way, and those little children have to find their way. Everyone has to find their way to God. I don't know how you do it. Trust me, I don't. But all I can do is plead my case and ask you to give him a chance. And if you don't think he's working, sack him. That's what you can do. I hope you don't. But you can. That's why God loves you so much. He doesn't make you be a robot. That's why he made you the way you are. So you have an opinion. So you can say what you want. You can do things wrong and be forgiven. And you can forgive other people too. You know? So, as I said, I never had an upbringing. I had a grandmother who was a religious woman. And I remember going to my grandmother's place, and she would have been about 4'5", a tiny little Scotch woman. And when I used to go there, she used to give me these sermons. I had no idea what she was talking about. Man, she looked cranky, but I knew I was in the wrong. And I didn't know what for. I used to go, oh. But you know what? She had a love for Jesus. You know? I love her ending with Jesus. I think she had 8 kids or something. And none of them believe in God. And you know what, when you ask her, why don't you believe in God? She says, because the funny thing, I used to call my grandmother Big Mum. Right, you know? And she said, of course, a Big Mum. They all blamed my grandmother. And I could never understand that. Now I couldn't. I really can't. I don't know. But anyway, as I say, you know, she had such a belief in God that she rang up my auntie who lives down here in Toronto West, and she said to my auntie, okay, Heather, I want you to, this is the dress I got laid out that I want to be buried in. This is the sermon that I want them to say over my grave. And because of my Scottish background, I want this played on the bagpipes. And Heather's listening to it, and then she says this to Heather, all right, Heather, it's time for me to go and see Jesus. And that was it. She died on the phone. Heather's on the other end laughing. Oh, drama, Mum. What drama are you going on about? Mum, where are you? Mum, why aren't you answering anymore, Mum? She was gone. But you know what? She had no fear. I know. I asked a woman once who works in old age care. I said to her, because I love asking questions, that's the one I am. And I said to her, do you find people who have Christian background different to people who are atheists when they're on their way to die? You know, they're in the waiting room up there, ready to die, ready to go through the other side. I said, do you see any difference? And she says she does. She says she sees a lot of people who don't believe in God are bitter and angry. You know what I mean? And the people who had Jesus in their life seem to be more contented and have a place where they're going to go. Of course they're going to be more contented. If you don't know what the unknown is, you're going to be scared. Don't be scared. Find Jesus. Really. You're not weak. You know the funny thing is, when I was a young fella, remember I said I had done some wild things in my time? I was such a hard young fella that I'd go out and there'd be 6 blokes standing over there and the boys would go, they're causing trouble. I'd go, righto, I'll fix them up. And I'd go in. And you know what? I used to tear those people apart. Now today, those people who knew me, what I was like in the younger days, you know, I talk to them, they're still my friends. They don't understand me. They think he's a Christian. He's weak. He's weak. They think I'm weak. And I think to myself, I'm not weak. Not today. I'm 5 times stronger than whatever I was then. I was nothing. I was weak then because I had nothing there. Today, I've got something. I've got God behind me. How strong am I today? And you think I'm weak? I can't give them and show them how strong I am. You know, you just have to take my word for that one. But anyway, testimonies, they're a beautiful thing. And as I say, I've got hundreds of them. You know, sometimes when I tell stories, people must think, oh, you're making this up. And I smile at them and I go, you know what, I don't make anything up. I don't have to. My sister always reckons I should write a book. You know? But I don't need to. I know what I did. And I know I am what I am today. And that's all I need to know. And praise the Lord for that.